12 years ago, I stood on this very stage at this very school, graduating kindergarten. Here I am, 12 years later, giving a TED Talk. I remember on that day, we had to, you see the picture I'm holding in my hand and everyone else? We had to actually draw a picture of what we wanted to be when we grew up. I remember, I thought this was a bit abrupt. I mean, I was only 5, So I thought, okay, maybe I want to be a vet. I mean, I always knew I liked helping animals and the environment and everyone inside of it, so why not? As the years went by, I realized I didn't really feel like being a vet. I didn't really want to cut animals or help them out that much. I was more interested in fashion. And for the next couple years, shopping was my exercise, and that's what I love to do. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that I was faced with a 4,000-word essay, the extended essay, a requirement for the EAB diploma. I know, a nightmare, right? It was, actually. It was very, very hard to find a topic that I liked. I mean, how was I supposed to write 4,000 words about something that I wasn't passionate about? Well, after doing a lot of research, I found out, why don't I write about fashion? Why don't I write about something that I'm actually interested in? I mean, my mentor told me to do so I might as well, right? But for some reason, I thought, how am I supposed to write about fashion? That's not something you teach in school. That's not something you're allowed to write about. I don't know, it felt weird. And then I came to find out that there's a lot more to the industry that I didn't really know about. I mean, I had to come up with a research question, and I thought, well, okay, let's try to find some statistics. That's like smart people stuff, so let's try to find something out about that. I actually came to find out that the industry, the clothing industry specifically, was the second largest polluter in the world of clean water, coming second only to the oil industry. And I thought, what? That can't be right. Like, what do my pants have to do with water? Like, that didn't make sense in my head. Well, it does. And let me tell you, it does a lot. So there I was, 16, having to write a 4,000-word essay, still not knowing what I wanted to do for college. And then I thought, well, what if I can choose this as my career? Okay, great. So now, not only do I want to change the fashion industry, but I also want to change the world. Great, I know. Pretty ambitious for a 16-year-old in high school. But Steve Jobs once said that the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. So call me crazy. Okay. So now back to the clothing industry. What does it have to do with the environment? Well, let's talk about pants. We're all wearing them today, I hope. So let's go through the average life cycle of one. So first, the cotton is planted and treated. Then eventually that cotton goes into production of the textiles. It's made into denim. Then the denim is made into pants. And then the pants are shipped and distributed. We, the consumers, buy them. And what should happen is from step 5, it should go to step 6 and back to step 2, which means the pants should be recycled, or at least the materials should be recycled. And the fabric should be refurbished and repurposed. Now, what usually happens is from step 5, we just jump to step 7, which would equal the end of the life of the pants. Seems pretty wasteful, right? I know. Well, did you know that it takes 33 kilos, the making of denim jeans actually emit 33 kilos of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere? That's equivalent to an average vehicle in the United States driving for 125 kilometers. Also, that is equivalent, also, making a pair of jeans also uses almost 4,000 liters of water. That's equivalent to 53 7-minute showers, or for flushing the toilet 575 times. That is also equal to more than 400 megajoules of energy, which is enough to power a computer for 556 hours. That's 70 days worth of work. Not only that, but it takes 1 kilo of cotton to make pants. And from that, and for that, 20,000 liters of water is required. That's enough for 1 month worth of entire household chores. Now think about that for a second. And think about the fact that 450 billion pairs of jeans are sold in the US annually. You do the math. So, back when fashion first started, there used to be 2 seasons, right? I'm sure we're all aware there's fall and winter, and then spring and summer, which mesh together to make 2 seasons. Now, with the industry growing at such a fast rate, there are 52 seasons. And for those of you who aren't very good at math, like myself, that's 1 for every week of the year. Sounds pretty wasteful, right? Well, there's a name for this. It's called fast fashion. And much like fast food, there are products which are low in quality, low in price, but big in quantity. Now, what does this mean for those who actually make the clothes? Do we ever ask ourselves that? No, we're just concerned with the new pair of jeans that we bought. So, how can we change this? How can we change being so wasteful? We can be sustainable. Well, what does sustainability mean? According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, it means to create and maintain the conditions under which humans and nature can exist in productive harmony to support present and future generations. Okay, but what does that mean in fashion? Well, in fashion, it means the exact opposite of fast fashion. To be sustainable means to produce garments that are high in quality, fair prices, but in low quantities. So, slow fashion, if you want to call it that. Because what may be cheap for us will surely have a cost for those who are making it, and for the environment. So, back to what I was saying about the ones who make our clothes. We don't think about that. We see a shirt and we think it's pretty and we buy it. We don't think about those who are actually making the shirt, do we? So, those factory workers I mentioned earlier are not in fact factory workers at all. They're sweatshop workers. And that means, by the United States Department of Labor, that it's a factory that violates 2 or more labor laws. Think about it. They're laws for labor, those who work. And if a factory violates that, you can imagine the conditions that they're in. Very poor conditions, let me tell you. And the workers who make the clothes are not paid what is considered the bare minimum. They're sometimes asked to work 4, 5, 6 hours over what they're supposed to, and do they get paid for that? No. Because the industry is so concerned with making clothes that are so unbelievably cheap for us, the consumers, to want to buy them, instead of being concerned with making clothes that are so unbelievably great in quality, for example, for us to want to buy them. So, like I said, not good. Many tragedies actually can come from this. In fact, in 2013 in Bangladesh, there was a collapse of a building called Rana Plaza where a lot of fast fashion brands made their clothes, and over 1,100 lives were lost. We don't think about that when we're buying our pants, do we? No. So when will this stop? When will the industries stop thinking about the price of the clothes rather than the price of a life? Like I said, the statistic that actually brought me to doing so much research about this topic is that the clothing industry is the 2nd largest polluter of clean water in the world. And not only that, but treating and dyeing textiles actually takes up 20% of industrial water pollution. And of that, 25% of all chemicals applied worldwide are applied to cotton. And of that cotton, 90% is genetically modified. So, with this, you've heard me talk all about how the industry is big and bad and how, we should probably not buy into this and everything like that, but you're probably thinking, great, that's fine, but I can't do anything to help that. I'm only one person, and even if I could, it's probably expensive or ugly or something like that. But no, actually, there are pretty easy ways to help, and let me tell you, I've been doing them recently, and they're not that hard. So first, when buying something, ask yourself, who made my clothes? Do you know where they're made? You know the country that they're made in, perhaps, if you look at the tag, but do you know who? Ask the manager. And if they don't know, don't buy it. Transparency is key when thinking about sustainability. You need to know where your garments are being made. And if the manager of the store doesn't know, chances are they're being made in a sweatshop. So now, what I like to call the 5 R's. The easiest and simplest ways to go sustainable. Firstly, reduce. Simple. Just reduce the amount of clothes you're buying. I love shopping just as much as the next girl, but and I know we can get pretty lost in clothes and shoes and shirts and bags and pants and things, but just think, okay, if what I'm about to buy will match with more than 3 things in my closet, okay, I'll allow myself to buy it, if it's sustainable and if you've asked the previous question. So that's the first thing, just reducing the size of your closet. Go through your closet. Very rarely, we're very concerned with adding more things to our closet, but we're not at all concerned with what's in our closet. So go through your closet, first of all. Second, repair. If your zipper is broken, don't just buy another dress. Don't just buy other pants. Just fix it. Third, reinvent. DIY your clothes. Get creative. Maybe you don't like the dress that you bought 2 years ago. You can make it into a shirt. You can make it into a skirt. Start cutting. See what you get. Number 4, repurpose. Swap with your friends. It's really fun, actually. Something that you think is so beautiful and fresh and new in your friend's closet could be sitting there for years. They'd be glad to give it away. Just give it a try. And number 5, recycle. Go thrifting. Go to a thrift store. You have no idea how great it is to wear something and be complimented on it and think, okay, I spent $4 on this, but they don't have to know that. It's a great feeling, really. So like I said before, yes, you're right. You are one person, and maybe what you do right now doesn't directly impact the industry, but you still are one person within the environment. You could very well be one person up here giving a TED Talk, and you don't know how many people you're going to impact doing that. So what you choose to do every single time you buy, wash, or discard your clothes can and will help save our environment, our planet, and change the world. Thank you.